Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Bill and Anne-Marie Stout? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Bill Stout was born on February 28, 1955, in San Jose, California. He was a drywall installer. He started dating a woman named Anne-Marie, who was about 10 years younger than he was. Anne-Marie had a son named Ben from another relationship. Bill and Anne-Marie married, and Bill adopted Ben. The couple went on to have 2 sons together, Noah and Matthew. The family moved to Darby, Montana, which is about an hour and 20 minutes south of Missoula. Bill built a house on a 20-acre lot, and the family tried to live a peaceful existence. This was shattered in 2000, when Ben brought an end to his own life. Peace would never again visit the Stout family. In 2005, Bill took a trip to Arkansas to attend a wedding. While he was in the hotel, he had sex with another wedding guest named Barbara Miller. They had known each other from California and had been romantically involved at one time. Bill told Barbara that he was separated from his wife, Anne-Marie, which of course was not true. After Bill returned home to Montana, he and Barbara continued to communicate. They made plans to have a life together. Bill even purchased a plane ticket for Barbara to fly to Montana. The marital misconduct migration to Montana never materialized. Eventually, Bill stopped calling Barbara. The affair was over. According to Anne-Marie, the reason Bill ended the affair was because she found out about it. Anne-Marie claimed that she received a call from a woman she didn't recognize and confronted Bill. After the end of the affair, the Stout family and friends of theirs received harassing emails and letters. These communications were purportedly from Barbara Miller and her daughter. The letters were even postmarked from Arkansas, which is where Barbara lived. The messages made several claims, including the affair between Bill and Barbara was still active, Barbara was pregnant with Bill's child, and Barbara was going to move to Montana and replace Anne-Marie. In addition to the emails and letters, there were acts of vandalism, including eggs and feces smeared on Bill's pickup truck and broken potted plants on the porch of his house. To make matters worse, Bill received several hang-up phone calls. Bill reported the harassment to the police. He believed that Barbara was responsible, and he was in fear for his safety. On May 31, 2007, Bill reported to the police that his pistol, ammunition, and holster were missing. The pistol had been stored in a safe in his house. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On June 9, 2007, at around 10 p.m., Bill talked with a friend of his on the phone. They made plans to go horseback riding the next day. Bill's 16-year-old son Matthew came home at about midnight. He did not see his father that night at all. The next morning, June 10, Bill's friend called about the horseback riding. Anne-Marie told him that Bill was not feeling well and he would not be going. Anne-Marie and Matthew went on a shopping trip in Missoula. Matthew did not see his father before leaving for that trip. After Anne-Marie and Matthew returned from shopping, they found Bill's dead body in his bed. Anne-Marie called 911 at about 4:30 p.m. Here's what the police found during their investigation. Bill Stout had been killed by a single gunshot wound to the head. No firearm was in the room with him, and there was no gunshot residue on his hands. There was a smell of bleach throughout the entire house. The police obtained a search warrant and found the items that Bill had reported stolen. The ammunition was found on top of Bill's gun safe. 3 cartridges were missing. The pistol was found in the garage. It was in the saddlebag of Bill's motorcycle. There was a live cartridge in the chamber. And the holster was found in a laundry hamper under wet clothes. In the same hamper, there was a latex glove with gunshot residue on the outside and Anne-Marie's DNA on both the inside and the outside. The police found a spent cartridge case on the bed where Bill was found, and one in the yard outside the house. All 3 of the missing cartridges were accounted for when including the live cartridge in the chamber of the pistol. Tests revealed that Bill's pistol was the murder weapon. Anne Marie told the police that she had spent the night of June 9 with her husband in their bedroom. He was not feeling well the next morning. She denied having anything to do with the shooting. Anne Marie said that she used rubber gloves around the house, which explained why her DNA was on the glove, but she did not know how the gunshot residue ended up there. The police found out about Bill's affair with Barbara Miller. They spoke to Barbara. She told them that she and Bill had talked about getting married, and she planned to move to Montana. Bill stopped communicating, and they never spoke again. Barbara also said that Anne Marie harassed her by phone and email. Anne Marie, of course, had a different story. She told the police that Barbara had been stalking the family. She indicated that Bill was concerned about this alleged harassment. Not long before his death, he thought that a car, which had turned into his driveway during the night, was occupied by Barbara or one of her family members. The police determined that Barbara had an alibi. She was captured on video in a Walmart in Arkansas on June 10, 2007 at 12:58 p.m. There's no way she could have been 1,625 miles away late on June 9 to commit the murder. I guess it's true what people say about Walmart. It's where one can obtain a gallon of milk, a shotgun, a lawnmower, and an alibi in the same trip. On June 26, 2007, Anne Marie Stout was charged with deliberate homicide. She went on trial in 2008 and was convicted in June. In September of that same year, Anne Marie was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. Anne Marie Stout could be released as early as 2038 at the age of 73. Now moving to my analysis. Anne Marie Stout maintains her innocence, and some people, like her son Noah, believe that Anne Marie was not involved in Bill's death. This brings me to the question, was Anne Marie guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that Anne Marie was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Bill was killed by a single gunshot wound to the head. He was in bed when he was shot, but the gun was found in the saddlebag of his motorcycle. In addition to the gun being moved, Bill's body had been moved a little bit after he was killed. The murder weapon was Bill's gun, which he had reported stolen. It had been in a safe in his house. This safe required a key. A glove containing gunshot residue and Anne Marie's DNA were found in the hamper. Someone had used a lot of bleach in the house around the time of the murder. Based on an analysis of the contents of Bill's stomach, a prosecution expert said that Bill died not long after his phone call on June 9 at 10 p.m. Anne Marie told the police that she had a conversation with Bill on the morning of June 10. This would have been a decidedly one-sided conversation if Bill was already dead. Barbara Miller had an alibi that the police were able to confirm. Evidence suggested that Anne Marie was actually responsible for all of the harassing communication, not Barbara. A few examples. The harassing phone calls were made from a payphone in the hall of the long-term care facility where Anne Marie worked. Anne Marie's DNA was on the adhesive of an envelope postmarked from Arkansas, which was found in her garage. Her fingerprints were on another envelope found in her car. And the harassing emails were sent from computers at Anne Marie's work and home. The search of Anne Marie's work computer also yielded another key finding. Someone had placed 56 internet searches for topics that had a homicidal feel to them, like how to poison someone and how to put a person to sleep. The police found a note on Anne Marie's nightstand. It was written in her handwriting and contained what appeared to be instructions on how to fire her husband's pistol. One spent cartridge case was found outside, suggesting that someone had taken a practice shot. Bill would have heard this shot if it was fired when he was in bed. Whoever took the practice shot did it when Bill was not at home. Bill had an affair which gave Anne Marie a motive for murder. Through Bill's death, Anne Marie stood to gain over $1 million between life insurance and real estate equity. Moving to the exculpatory factors, technically, Bill could have fired the fatal shot himself. Someone could have moved the gun afterward without being involved in the shooting. Bill was behind on his mortgage and had tax problems. Maybe the stress was too much for him. When Bill's pistol was found, it had a towel around it, which was different than any other towel in the house. Maybe an outsider was the killer and brought that towel in. Bill's time of death was calculated based on finding undigested steak, broccoli, and potatoes in his stomach. Anne Marie said that he had those items for dinner on June 9. However, maybe Bill ate leftovers on the morning of June 10. Anne Marie explained the note containing apparent gun use instructions by saying it was a guide for using the clothes washer for her son Noah. It must have been one of those 9mm semi-automatic clothes washers with a safety. As far as those internet searches on Anne Marie's work computer about killing someone, other people had access to that computer. Maybe some of the residents in the long-term care facility wanted to kill the family members who put them there. When considering all the evidence, do I think that Anne Marie Stout was guilty? Yes, I believe she was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Really, there isn't any doubt in this case. I'm amazed that anyone believes in her innocence. Here's what I think happened in this case. This is just a theory, my opinion. Bill and Anne Marie Stout were unhappy in their marriage. Bill wanted to find another lover, but he did not want the stress of divorce, and he was in bad financial shape. At the wedding he attended in 2005, Bill had sex with Barbara Miller. He came up with a grand fantasy about life together with her, but then he was brought back to reality when confronted by his wife. Anne Marie was extremely offended by the affair. She could not believe that Bill would betray her like that. Anne Marie had characteristics of vulnerable narcissism, including vindictiveness. The only way she could protect her fragile ego was to make Bill suffer. But murder was not enough. She wanted to kill him slowly through embarrassment, fear, and regret. Anne Marie came up with a scheme to act like Bill's affair backfired, and Barbara turned into some type of unstoppable, angry, and dangerous stalker. Much of Anne Marie's hatred was communicated through the harassing behavior. Bill was about to feel the full force of Anne Marie's rage. Anne Marie sent emails and letters, vandalized Bill's truck, and made hang-up phone calls. She manipulated and deceived Bill in a manner disproportionate to his offense. It was important to Anne Marie that everyone knew what Bill had done, which is why she contacted his friends while pretending to be Barbara. Bill lived in constant fear until Anne Marie shot him in the head. He died believing that Barbara was the stalker, having no idea that his true enemy was the one he betrayed. Anne Marie was caught because she made just about every mistake that a criminal could make. She was effective at making Bill life-free, but not at making herself life-in-prison-free. She may have believed that law enforcement would be as mad as she was about the affair and completely focus on Barbara. Anne Marie was unfamiliar with concepts like DNA, firearms, gunshot residue, fingerprints, internet search histories, call records, food digestion, the odor of bleach, and common sense. Now moving to my final thoughts. Anne Marie Stout held on to anger for an extended period of time. She converted it into a haphazard, long-term plan to make her husband Bill suffer. This is one of those cases where the perpetrator believed that death was not enough of a penalty for the victim. Anne Marie wanted everyone to know what her husband did. This was her primary objective. She may have been caught and sent to prison for life, but she was successful in exposing Bill as a cheater. In this case, she fulfilled her intention of a slow-moving revenge. Those are my thoughts in the case of Bill and Anne Marie Stout. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.